I'm Eugene Loh on a Slice of Life Hour on 938 Live, your dose of do-it-yourself motivation. Author Maggie Lai discovers that there is more to life in every ITE student that she meets. Beyond every stare, sob, smile and laughter is a life intertwined with a bigger world of relationships, issues and possibilities. A world sometimes too complicated and confusing for the teens. Delicately captured and written in candid honesty, her book Raw Diamonds, Born to Shine digs deep into the heart of the matter of not just the vocational teen's life, but that of caregivers too. The pain and struggles of being stuck in the mud of life, the joy and freedom of beaming at the peak. Your book, Raw Diamonds, Born to Shine, is inspired from your experience as a teacher at ITE. So can you share with us, first of all, a bit of background? What made you decide to join the ITE as a teacher?
Well, actually, I was a teacher. Before I joined ITE, I was a teacher in the primary school. And then I took a break to do educational publishing. But it's through that 1 year that I realized I truly enjoyed teaching. And I would like to explore different kind of audience. And that's how I end up in ITE.
I see. Okay, so before joining ITE, obviously, you know, there is still, I suppose it's improving quite a lot these days as well, but there is still some sort of negative stigma or connotations, you know, applied to ITE and ITE students. What sort of perception did you have of ITE before you joined?
Playful, very playful, probably rowdy, and mischievous.
Yeah, but you joined ITE all the same anyway.
But that's what makes it fun, teaching them.
I see. So you've always had this passion for, I suppose, helping children and teenagers, youth, yeah, who may be, in a way, sidelined or by society or by their caregivers.
Yes. I always believe that there is a reason why certain things happen, particularly with children who are vulnerable to the circumstances. So every time we see a kid that's in trouble or acting up to some people, it could be nuisance. But to me, I think there is more than meets the eye, something that we ought to probably spend a little bit more time understanding.
So you wanted to make a difference to their lives by
Yes.
Joining ITE as a teacher. So after joining ITE then, were you surprised by anything? Anything that was unexpected or contrary to your perceptions of the place?
The place, I think it was very different from the school environment that I was in. I was teaching children, and to have to switch to teaching teenager, that's a big difference. So trying to understand what they're doing, why are they behaving in a certain manner, all require relearning on the part of myself as a teacher.
Okay. What about the students that you came into contact with? I mean, you thought that, you know, the perception you had of ITE was like playful, rowdy. What was the reality like in ITE?
It is really like that. And you just have to catch up with them in terms of just playing along, but yet keeping your boundaries.
I see. So what were the main challenges when it came to teaching or guiding ITE students in your experience?
Many of them have plenty of ideas, but they have but they do not exactly know how to go around doing it. The other one would be just keeping their attention. So they would be easily distracted with multiple things that's happening around them. And right now with so many things, multimedia, handphone and stuff like that, I think it's even harder to just keep them on track, even in class.
Right. But the perception of ITE and ITE students is evolving. It's becoming more positive, and we do find that, you know, the more positive sentiments that we apply onto ITE and ITE students' image, the more actually they become, you know, become that image that positive image that we kind of like envision them to be, kind of like builds upon itself. And we see that image becoming more positive over the years as well. And in your book, Raw Diamonds, Born to Shine, what are some of the positive sort of like lessons that you've learned via your experience at ITE?
I'm definitely sure that one of the things that works is that we have visionary leadership, and that we believe as a country in this group of teenagers. Because in many countries that, at least for me, I've observed, is that the bottom rank of the youth are usually not the main focus in terms of even national budget and all that. But in Singapore, it's quite different. We invest a lot, not just in the facility, but also in the programs and the curriculum. And that makes it the difference that after a while, when there's enough positive reinforcement, people would come to see that there is truly value in technical education.
Okay, so what were the main themes or ideas that precipitated the book Raw Diamonds?
It's definitely a book about hope, because in my 10 years there, it is a very tough journey for both the teachers and the students, because you're trying to bring hope in just the 2 years that each student is with you. So what I'm trying to show in each and every one of this chapter is that although we have had challenges, although we do struggle with each other, but ultimately there are success stories. There are students who actually turn around and become very good.
Now, this book is written in the first person, so it's largely your experience at ITE. Can you share with us maybe what was the process of writing the book like? Did you make notes like every now and then that perhaps were compiled into this book? How did the writing of the book take place?
For writing, this is my first experience. So as a first-time author, what's interesting is that I think for me, I'm grateful that I have a mentor. And she's Pauline Low. She is an established writer in children's book. And through her, she gave me a lot of guidance. And because this is a book that's in first-person account, so the stories are actually real. So I didn't have a lot of difficulty coming up with the stories. In fact, I had to think of which stories to highlight, because 10 years of experience, that's a lot to
right.
tell.
So obviously we have volume 2 on the way then.
Okay, coming up.
Okay, then what were you found, you had a lot of material. So material-wise, no problem. Were there any challenges at all in writing the book or getting the book out?
Yes, organizing the stories, because to me every story is precious. But however, in the writing process, in the writing cycle, you need to organize your materials, your info in such a way that there will be climax, there will be cliffhangers. How do you put in certain messages that will just get it right through to the point? So the choice of words and language is important.
Yeah, there is a design and an art and form to it,
yes.
Right? And some of this, what you mentioned messages, right? What are some of the main messages you hope to convey via this book?
For the youth, I would want them to know that everyone has a place in this world. You just need to find your place, and that to make the best decision you can every time, because I think for the youth sometimes it's very scary that we have so much of information, so much of option, but which one is the best for me? So I think it's important for the youth that to find out as much as possible, talk to people whom you want to emulate as good role models rather than just your friends.
I'm Eugene Low on A Slice of Life Hour with Maggie Lai, author of Raw Diamonds, Born to Shine. The book is available at all major bookstores. And for more information or purchase information, write to publisher at writeeditions.com or simply go to writeeditions.com. That's WRITE editions.com. My conversation with Maggie continues in a while. I'm Eugene Loh on A Slice of Life Art today with Maggie Lai, author of Raw Diamonds, Born to Shine. The book is a sweet reminder that we're all connected in some ways and we can all make an impact on a teen's life for good and for the better. Truly, each and every teen, notwithstanding his or her vocation and background, is a precious diamond born and destined to shine. My conversation with Maggie continues. In the course of writing this book then, did you have very, lengthy, intimate conversations with students and teachers?
With students most of the time, because we spend a lot of time together. And I used to teach life skills, so this module is really interesting because you are putting knowledge into life practices and building up the character. So a lot of time we do have to talk about very personal stuff, and for the kid to open up, that will take time.
So from your conversations with these students, what is your sense of the main difficulties that they face?
Failure, the sense of failure, because they have been failing throughout the mainstream education, and that's something that will cause them to be fearful to try, because it's not that they have not tried, but they just have not seemed to figure out a way to succeed. So in ITE, it is a great challenge. How do we actually help a kid find success or be successful in just 2 years?
So how do you do that?
I take one kid at a time, and I teach them one kid at a time, one moment at a time. So every child will have his or her own space with me. Every student will also know that they have access to me for time. It's just that in the course of work, sometimes it's very tough with meetings and preparation work.
Okay. Would you like to share some of the some of the stories or some of the students' stories that are featured in the book? Which ones had a particular resonance for you?
Actually, every one of them. As I've said, there are just too many stories, but too few pages.
Just to give listeners an idea of the contents in the book, perhaps I will have to compel you to just choose one or two. Perhaps you can read from the book as well. There must be some passages that you feel particularly useful or meaningful that other people would find meaning in.
I want to talk about Chitra. Well, just as a disclaimer, all the names in the stories have been changed because they are minors. That includes the teachers as well. Yeah, so that would be something that we need to take note of. So I want to talk about Chitra. She's one of the girls that I will always remember. One of the girls who was terribly lost and really trying hard to find love. Maybe I just read out one part of it. Chitra was one of my students. She would not be the person you would put on your at-risk list at first sight, for she looked fine, quiet, and composed. Like a wallflower, Chitra would fade into the background, choosing to listen quietly rather than speak. Her big eyes were deep and beautiful, but still like glass. Never would I have imagined them to be tinted glasses, shielding dark secrets within.
And how did you seek to improve Chitra's situation?
Constantly chasing after her. And
some tough love, I suppose, yeah?
Yes. Letting them know that we really do not want to give up on them. We would, as many of my colleagues would share the same sentiments, we would do all that we can, even when they miss class and all that, we would just constantly seek after them.
It's this constant, I suppose, support, just being there for them, right? Because I think very often these kids have they just had enough of people maybe chastising them, scolding them, telling them very negative and harsh things about themselves. So what you can do, actually the best thing you can do as a teacher at ITE is simply just to be there for them and just to remind them, coax them gently into what they have to do at present, right? And then slowly, they'll be able to find their way.
Yes, definitely. I think there's enough scolding, there's enough negative messages that's being put across to them, not just from the people around them, but also probably, like we said, in the media, in some of these misconception that people have about this group of students.
But the situation definitely is improving. I mean, the new campus notwithstanding, which is, gorgeous, is stunning, really. The facilities and all that. And of course, a lot of prominent government leaders also coming out to voice their support, for ITE students and all that as well. So what more do you think can be done, to move the movement of ITE and helping the students forward?
In my personal experience, I've seen change in terms of mindset from the teenagers. They see value in owning a skill that's practical so that they can find a footing in life or a career. The challenge probably would still be with some parts of the public, could be the parents. Of course, all of us want the best for our children. So what does ITE mean when my kid reach a crossroad like that?
Do you have any, idea whether ITE actually has problems finding manpower, as in hiring the teachers to actually come forward to work at ITE?
In some of the industry, yes, I would think that there is a challenge, particularly in industry, because all the courses that are being offered would have been researched thoroughly before we offer, and to ensure that there is a market out there for the students to get work to when they graduate. However, I think in some industry that's very specialized, they are very specialized, and we would find getting lecturers in a problem. Because in ITE, we would want to only ensure that the experienced ones are able to coach the students.
I see. So it's just simply a sort of like a demographic, statistical sort of difficulties,
Yes.
nothing to do with perceptions.
No.
Okay.
Because I think for those of us who choose to come, there is a compassion for this group of students.
I'm Eugene Loh on A Slice of Life, chatting with Maggie Lai, author of Raw Diamonds, Born to Shine. The book is available at all major bookstores, and for more information, go to writeeditions.com. That's WRITE editions.com. My conversation with Maggie continues in about half an hour after headline news. I'm Eugene Loh on A Slice of Life today with Maggie Lai, author of Raw Diamonds, Born to Shine. It is a book on students of the Institute of Technical Education, or ITE, and author Maggie Lai discovers that there is more to life in every ITE student that she meets. Her encounters with them are explored further in this book. So obviously, your book Raw Diamonds includes a lot of stories regarding, the students that you've worked with and encountered. What else did you put into the book? First of all, tell me, was there a style of writing, a sort of tone that you sought to achieve in your writing?
My style is definitely very simple, very straightforward. I don't have very bombastic vocabulary because the intent is really to reach out to the average reader. That when you pick this book up, you find yourself in the book. You find your neighbor. You find your family, probably. So that's where I'm coming from. I have to write in a very straightforward manner.
Okay. Did you imagine yourself perhaps talking to the reader, or do you write it as if you were writing a journal, a diary?
More like a diary, and sharing my thoughts and my experiences aloud, but in the word form.
Okay. Via your experiences with the students at ITE, were there any sort of like difficulties or challenges or problems that they had coming from perhaps parents who might have, still have that very negative perception of ITE and perhaps aren't that supportive, of their kids being in ITE? Was that a problem exacerbating, the problems they had in their studies? Or no, the parents were very supportive?
I think a lot of parents by then would, at least the parents that I've come across, they actually expect their kids to be independent. Actually, that's the problem because these teenagers...
Also, they become very hands-off once they...
Right,
I see.
right.
Okay.
We are the ones who have to contact them to tell them the good news and the not so good news.
Okay. So what's the message then if you could send out a message to parents of kids or of students who are in ITE or who might be going to ITE?
At the age of about 16 to 19, actually this is a very tough period for each and every one of these students because they are really just growing into adulthood. So for many of them, they may appear to be loud, to be confident, to be nonchalant about things, but actually in their heart there is a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety. So for the parents, this is actually an important period where we handhold them and work with them before they really enter into adulthood.
All right. What else does the book talk about or deal with? Or is it mainly just your encounters with the various students in ITE?
It talked about certain social issues that weighs heavily in my heart. Issues like what about education for students who are in the zone. These students are called in the zone because they are neither really special needs nor being able to cope in the mainstream education. So I find that when they are with us, they really struggle in the course. And for some of the others, social issues would be teachers have been talking a lot about the workload, admin stuff that we have to do. How do we actually balance between our passion to want to impact lives positively versus handling all the other work that we have to do?
Yeah, because we often say that children are our future, and it's true, right? And it's really a lost opportunity if we do not guide these students, because they can, like the title of your book says it all, right? Raw diamonds, like they all are in the raw and
born
given
to
the
shine.
Right, exactly, yeah. So given the right sort of burnishing and guidance, they all can shine and actually contribute to Singapore and society, right? So don't give up on them. Perhaps at this point, I'd like you to perhaps read another passage from your book, another particular case that's quite memorable or meaningful to you.
Sometimes we take life for granted, and after a while, we sort of forget about the simple things in life. And this student really reminded me of what exactly is right or wrong decision. Sometimes it's not so easy to just make a judgment about that. So I did this encounter with this student, and I was really quite fed up with him over how he used money, right? So I'm just going to read an abstract from it. What are you saving your money for? I'm saving money for a surprise birthday treat for my mom. I want to buy a new shirt to wear to the party too. I felt as if a boulder had just hit me hard on my head. An overwhelming emotion melted my anger. A shirt? This is a simple want, unlike the PSP and the techno gadgets desired by many teens now. And what's wrong with saving money for mother's birthday? It's a sweet gesture of love from a son to his mother, right? Yet, something was disturbing about the whole matter.
All right. And Maggie, you're no longer at ITE, but you've moved. You're still continuing your work with youths because that's your life's passion. Tell us more about what you're doing right now.
I've currently moved on to the Ministry of Social and Family Development with the Juvenile Homes branch. So working directly with a group of youth at risk that is residing in a residential facility.
Okay, so what sort of help do you provide to them?
This group of teenagers have had a lot of challenges, so they are now under state care. So we are the state caregiver. So my team in the Youth Guidance and Management department, what we do is we really take care of everything about them, from their well-being to their emotional needs to their medical needs, because they are really just residing with us at the residential block. Of course, my team will work together with many other colleagues to help these teenagers rehabilitate.
What do you find most fulfilling about, your work with these kids who are in the zone or are disadvantaged or disenfranchised in some way?
I think the fulfilling thing is that when they find hope in their life and they find just little bits of strength to even just go on another day or to try another time. That's something that is fulfilling, because we really do not know how much impact we have. Right now we may not see change, but change can come in even several years down the line. So that's something that the teachers that I've known and even myself, we believe that every single moment is precious with them.
Yes, you never know, right? I mean, just a little bit of help, a little bit push and a nudge today could turn into a huge bounty, for tomorrow for these kids and for society in general as well. I'm Eugene Loh on A Slice of Life Hour today with Maggie Lai, author of Raw Diamonds, Born to Shine. The book is available at all major bookstores, and for more information, go to writeeditions.com. That's WRITE editions.com. Coming up in just a short while, some of your comments and suggestions that you posted on my Facebook page. I'm Eugene Loh on A Slice of Life Hour. I'm Eugene Loh on A Slice of Life Hour, and thank you so much for liking and following my A Slice of Life page on Facebook. And thank you so much for your comments as well, and some of your reflections or reactions to my scripts that you've posted on the page as well. I'd just like to share some of them with you. Some of your responses to one of my scripts last week, which is all about a rejection and how we should rethink and perhaps in a way reject a rejection in order to achieve more fulfillment and success. And Tok Sok LZ Socks has written in, and Tok Sok, you say, I've always tried to stop feeling rejected because it is not doing me any good. Learning to accept that, hey, I'm doing good is important. Thanks for that, Tok Sok. Also, Kiki Cantabile has written in on my Facebook page as well. And Kiki writes, my friend told me that rejection is just a way of nature telling you that these people are not meant to be in your life. And to continue to pretend that everyone is your best friend will give you more suffering. Time will show, as these people will not even be in our lives years down the road. If people do not accept us being with them, we can move away and open our hearts to others who will like our company. After all, in life we don't need many friends, just a few who know our hearts. For some friends, they're only here for a while and everyone moves on. We thank them for being with us briefly and creating that sweet, brief moment for us. And that comment posted on my Facebook page by Kiki Cantabile. Thank you so much for your comments and reflections and responses to my scripts. Do keep them coming in. If you have any suggestions as well for music, for songs, for any sort of meaningful media, anything that is inspiring or is meaningful to you, do send them in. You can also email me at eugene@mediacorp.com.sg. Seattle native Julia Erickson is a full-time principal dancer with Pittsburgh Ballet Theatre, and she shared some lessons for life that she learned through her experience of being a dancer. And she writes in the Huffington Post, I've been a professional ballet dancer for 15 years, and along the way I've honed strategies that can translate to anyone striving to achieve balance in their lives and create room for personal passion and creativity. And here are some of those lessons. The first one, understand that discipline is your friend, not your enemy. Now, most people know that ballet requires intense discipline, and this habit, discipline, enables us. The discipline I've developed as a ballet dancer helps me in every facet of my life, because when I leave the studio, I still have to run to the store, pay bills, and run my small business. A little bit of discipline can give you a great return. Start small, build good habits, free yourself. Julia Erickson continues to write, focus on the present moment. Whether it's executing basic daily warm-ups with impeccable form and deliberation, to learning choreography, to working tirelessly on finishing a complex solo, we have to give each step 100% of our attention. The privilege of focusing on what's important in the moment is a wonderful antidote to the crazy busyness of today's world. Julia continues to share some of the lessons she's learned from being a ballet dancer. Trust your creativity. What separates ballet from other athletic endeavors is the creative signature each dancer adds to his or her performance. Sometimes this quality comes deliberately from study and practice. More often it comes from our own perspective and life experiences. Julia continues to write, fake it until you make it. I've never heard a colleague say that was the greatest performance of my life, and I've never experienced one of my own. There are always mistakes, miscues, fudged steps that the audience never sees. But that doesn't matter. Nobody's perfect. We're human after all. Emulating confidence will help you rise to new heights. And the final lesson that Julia shares on her article in Huffington Post is manage your time and know when to take 5. When it comes to time management, work backwards. Make a schedule. Sure, plans change, but it's difficult to be disciplined and focused without it. But make sure to write breaks and rest into your schedule. An occasional 5 minutes to be present for yourself makes all the difference. If dancers don't rest, we face bruises, sprained ankles, and heaven forbid, a career-ending injury. Likewise, in any career, you can drive yourself crazy, overbooking and neglecting yourself. Take 5, because without it, none of the magic happens on or off stage. And those are some of the life lessons that she learned from her experience as a dancer for 15 years. That's Seattle native Julia Erickson writing in the Huffington Post. I'm Eugene Lo on a Slice of Life Hour, and I'd like to end the show with a song as usual. And today it's a suggestion from my friend and colleague Janice Teo, who posted this on my Facebook page. It's a track by Brandi Carlile entitled The Story.
All of these lines across my face tell you the story of who I am. So many stories of where I've been, and now I got to where I am. But these stories don't mean anything when you've got no one to tell them to. It's true, I was made for you. I climbed across the mountain tops, swam all across the ocean blue. I crossed over lands and I broke all rules, and baby I broke them all for you. Oh, because even when I was flat broke, you made me feel like $1,000,000. You do.
Brandy Carlisle with The Story. Thanks, Janice, for that suggestion. Hope you found some meaning and wisdom in that song. And if you have a song suggestion or a book, whatever it is that you find particularly meaningful, tell me what it is and tell me why as well. You can email eugene@mediacorp.com.sg. Thanks for all your comments and suggestions. I'm Eugene Low, and this has been a Slice of Life Hour on 938 Live.